Welcome back to Storytime with Sarge. So today, I'm just going to tell a quick story. Since it's 2 days before Christmas now, everyone's probably at home relaxing. So I'm going to tell you a sad story, a frustrating story. Um, first of all, today I'm drinking an IPA from, it's a local IPA, I'm pretty sure. It's called Good People Brewing Company. Uh, yes, Birmingham, Alabama. All right, so it's a pretty good IPA. Um, Today I'm going to be talking about my experience at Fort Bragg as a platoon sergeant there. And I know I discussed it a little bit earlier how I had a bad experience with a previous platoon sergeant. This one is um, going to be about why while I was a platoon sergeant shortly after I left that unit, that platoon. So I took over a human intelligence platoon in Charlie Company 519th immediately, and I had a really awesome first sergeant who I ended up becoming friends with, and I had some really great soldiers. I mean, phenomenal soldiers. My platoon, I could not have been happier. We did some really great training and stuff, and then after I was there for about 5 months, we started getting new people in. That happens after deployment, usually right around 5, 6 months after. Everyone who was in the unit for a little while starts leaving after a deployment, and we start getting new people in. A lot of times it's non-commissioned officers, which is the leaders of the unit. So I started getting them, and I'm not going to name all of them because a couple of them I don't have permission to mention their names, and I won't ask them because well, you'll see why. But I do have a little video, little slideshow I'm going to show you. So these three, as you can see, one of them, I can't move my mouse there yet. It was a female. This lady here, another guy here, and another guy. I could not have done better on the animation for this and the hair colors. But these three in particular, there were two more, and I will name them: Jose Manzano and Tim Damron. So I had 5 staff sergeants in my platoon, including myself. I was a staff sergeant at the time too. The reason I was a platoon sergeant is because I outranked them by date of rank, not time in service, but date of rank. Um, so I was a senior ranking, so I was in charge of the platoon. So these three, they didn't like that very much. Apparently, I didn't know this. Um, it was it was great when it was just a handful of us. Joseph Anderson, I mentioned him before. He was in my platoon before. Before that, I had a bunch. They just all had to go their separate ways. It's just how it works out. But these guys, we were getting ready to deploy, and like I said, my platoon was really awesome. Um, we had just come back from the National Training Center, which is where we go to kind of ramp up for our deployment, our final like big certification exercise. And actually, I mentioned her before, Amanda. She actually works out there now. She's an observer, controller, and a trainer out there. She was one of my soldiers. Now she's a awesome NCO out there showing human intelligence collectors how to do their job properly. At least make them show her that they do know how. At this point she should be showing them how to do their job. It's a certification. But yeah, she's out there just killing it. So anyway, back to these guys. These guys got to my platoon before that, but we didn't take the entire platoon with us to the training center. A lot of people couldn't go for different reasons, but I brought all my junior enlisted and some of my younger non-commissioned officers. But um, so we get back, and these people here, these three in particular, came to my office one night, and this guy here with the brown hair, I think it's brown. I just picked a color that looked like brown. If you don't know this, I'm colorblind, so I'm terrible at this. But really good friend of mine. We had gone to our advanced individual training, which is our job training course school. We went there together. We were friends for couple of years by this point, a year, almost 2 years by this point, probably longer. And these two had gotten to my platoon while I was there. I never met them before this. These three came to my office and pretty much told me, and not verbatim because it was years ago, but you're a staff sergeant. This was said to me. You're a staff sergeant. We're staff sergeants. We don't think you should be in charge of us. And I was like, I'm not. I'm just your platoon sergeant. I told him, I was like, I didn't pick this job. I didn't choose to outrank you. This is just how it works, guys. The Army works this way. I apologize if you don't want me leading you. I apologize that it's got to be this way. But all I'm asking is that you lead your teams. And all it was is I'm a staff sergeant. I'm in charge of an entire platoon. They are also staff sergeants, but they were in charge of teams of 3 or 4. Some of them a little more than that. So I can see the jealousy there, right? As a leader, you want more. There's leaders that want more power because they want more power, but there's more leaders who want more power because they really like teaching, mentoring, and having a positive impact on a lot of people at once. This was not that reason. This reason was because they wanted more power, and they didn't like that I was the one with the power. That's that legitimate power I told you guys about. It sucks sometimes. That's another reason I can't stand legitimate power. Because we all had the same rank and everything, but because of my position, I had the power, and I didn't like that. It was a very uncomfortable experience for me. After they did that, they made training really awkward. We got a new first sergeant in. My first sergeant, who was a very close friend of mine and is a close friend of mine still. We literally just talked today. He ended up going to battalion and taking over the S3, which is our operations department in an organization. So he went up there. We got a new first sergeant in. There was nothing wrong with her. She was a great lady. She just didn't know the history of this platoon. So she was kind of blindsided by it. But the problem was they got this warrant officer. She came in, and they kind of buddy up to her. They were all smokers, so they all go to the smoke pit and just talk all this trash. And she literally came to my office. She was in my platoon, and I had a door on my sign that said, "Officers making simple stuff hard since 1775." It's a joke. Everyone knows NCOs, non-commissioned officers, NCOs pick on officers. It's what we do. It's fun. It's funny. It's not to be mean. It's just what we do. And she asked me, she's like, "Do you mean this?" I was like, "No, of course I don't mean that. Like, that's silly." But I could tell we had bad blood immediately. And like I said, she was very mean. Look at that face. Whew. Very angry and mean. So it started off pretty rough with her. It wasn't very fun at all. I'm going to pause there, and we're going to go to a part 2 of this, and then I'm going to merge part 1 and 2. When we got back from the National Training Center, my wife had told me that she had been driving, and she passed out while driving. Something was going on. Something just wasn't right. And I'm not going to talk about all her medical issues on here, but just know that she was passing out behind the wheel. And she ended up in a median. And it was very concerning because she woke up like, what the heck's going on? No crashing, no nothing. She just kind of drifted into the median. It was scary stuff. So she went to all kinds of doctor's appointments and things like that. And she got a no drive order. And they told her pretty much you can't drive. If you need to go anywhere, your husband's got to take you. Or this could happen, right? So I went to my battalion commander. I do have permission to mention his name is Kevin McInich. He's actually the man who was pivotal in getting me this job I have right now that I'm extremely thankful for. My job isn't podcasting, for those of you guys who don't know. But awesome dude. he too had to go through some struggles in that unit. It was just a weird vibe, and I'll explain that a little bit in a little bit. But anyway, he said, Sergeant Eck, I love you, man, but you got to stay home and take care of your wife. And I fought it a lot. I was like, no, I have to take my platoon. Like, I've been with these guys since we restarted the organization, since we got back and redid our task organization. And he kept telling me, okay, we'll see. But once this no drive order was definitely a thing, and she just kept passing out, kept fainting. He's like, you have no choice, man. You're staying home. And I begged him. I was like, sir, if you're gonna leave me here, if those of you who don't know, there's people who get stuck on rear detachment for they're retiring, they have something where they are not allowed to deploy. A large amount of the people who get stuck on rear detachment are people there because they don't want to deploy, and they look for reasons to get out of it. And it's a really frustrating situation. So when I was in his office, I said, sir, if you're gonna leave me back here, please, I don't want to sit here. I don't want to rot. I want to be responsible for important things. I don't want to just let the battalion just kind of sit here and collect dust. So he made me the operations NCO, which was kind of cool because in rear detachment, I was the operations NCO, and my old first sergeant was the actual battalion operations NCO forward deployed. So I got to work with him quite a bit, and I learned a lot about how, I'm going to get redundant here, but operations work, like all the training that needs to get done. I was also a schools NCO, so I got arranged all kinds of schools for my people. Like, you name it, I did it. And it was a lot of fun. I learned a whole lot. And I was really glad that he entrusted me with that position because there were E7s, Sergeant First Class, and Master Sergeants there. That they were like super humble about it. Like, nah, man, you're in charge. I'm trying to retire. I'm trying to do whatever it is. So whatever you need me to do, just tell me. And I had a great first sergeant, Alex Scott, and I had a great commander, Rolando Gutierrez. Like, guys, awesome leaders. It just happened that there were bad ones in the mix, and I got this. So I'm gonna leave this talk about my wife and what I ended up doing. I got stuck on rear detachment, right? So we're going to rewind time back to part 1 now. So these leaders are a huge part of the 525 Military Intelligence Brigade as a whole. Anyone that I've known that's gone there said it's always real weird, very cliquey, very like everyone's against everyone. People I met were trash talking their friends, saying like, I'm going to get their job. Literally, people did that in my platoon. They don't know that I know they said they were getting my job, but yeah, people definitely were saying, I want his job. I'm going to get his job. Now, these people came straight to me and said it. At least they did that much. But it was real dirty. It was real scummy the way they did things, and it crushed my heart. So I had to say it. I had to quit. I had to tap out. And Jose Manzano actually got my job, and he was one of the people who wanted it. So good for him. He just wasn't a jerk about it. He got it by virtue of being outranking all of them people right there, and he got the job. So either way, they ended up not in charge anyway. So they deployed without, but the fact that they did that, it made the entire platoon environment really uncomfortable. It was very, very awkward to go to work. I was literally bleeding from places that you shouldn't bleed as a guy, or a girl, anybody. You shouldn't bleed from there. I was so stressed. I had ulcers. I had all these problems, and it was all because of these guys right here. You can have a lot of power over someone's life when you're a complete jerk and you don't care about anyone but yourself, especially them, right? So they won. They got my job. I left the unit. I got my when they came back, Terrence Griffin, one of the best sergeant first classes, one of the best NCOs, best first sergeants I'd ever worked with. Amazing man, really good dude. Even today, I can lean on him if I have any questions and stuff. He ended up being my first sergeant, and there were some terrible things that went down, and he gave me all the time I needed to take care of that. And I'm forever grateful for his patience with me, because I know that last couple months there, I had that going on. I had to go to a course so I could get promoted. I had to go to a professional development course. Um, I had a lot. I was leaving to go to Fort Joint Base Lewis McChord, which I ended up with the best platoon I've ever had. So it worked out. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna bash all the leaders there. I will say that these three crushed my soul, and like I said, this guy here was a really good friend of mine. Later on, he apologized to me, so we talked for a little while longer, but we grew apart again, and I really don't care. I don't, because it seems like he only wants to be real close to you if he has to be. And I don't want that in my life. I need good people. I need good vibes, you know. So yeah, Merry Christmas, huh? What a sad story. And this right here, this whole situation impacted how I led my platoons after this. I always gave my leaders a lot of power. The leaders that worked subordinate to me, a lot of power. I never questioned what they did. I just let them do their thing and lead. But it was after that I kept a tighter grip, I guess I could say, a tighter I had more of an awareness of the feelings in my platoon and how I could assist them in understanding that I'm not there to run their lives. I'm literally there to evaluate them and let them run their own lives. Yeah, so it ended up being a much longer story than I anticipated. I thought I was going to be like 15 minutes, but I like explaining things and repeating myself. So, yeah, I'm going to try to keep these stories much shorter. If I do interviews with people, it'll grow, it'll keep getting longer and longer. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. If you're watching this on YouTube, dislike, unlike, dislike if you want. Comment. I don't mind y'all commenting. Talk some trash. Try to guess the names of the people who they were. A lot of you know these. You know the story because I've told it before. But yeah, subscribe. Please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Anybody who wants to listen to me just run my mouth, subscribe. That will be it. Thank you again. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, all that stuff. Have a great one. Now I have to figure out how to stop this recording. I'm just gonna cut this out of the video anyway. It's okay. Where's my mouse here? Stop recording.